And we're back for our third match of 5 on the day. This one is going to be Hellraisers versus Team Arena, Tinkerina. We began our day actually in Southeast Asia and China, and well, today we're still casting, guys. It's now Europe. By the time we go to bed, North American Dota for any tournaments happening in that region will be well underway. But yeah, I'm LDB on the summit. I'm joined here, of course. I have the pleasure to be joined here by Blaze, and it's time to cast Art Style Struggling Squad, 2 and 3 in Starladder, but looked abysmal at the Game Show League against Team Tinkerina. And I've got you muted, Blaze. There we go.
No problem, but yeah, it's a pleasure to be casting with you, of course, man. But Hellraisers, they really need to get into form. They obviously have a lot of potential on their team. Right now it kind of feels like there might be a couple weak links. Right now they're running a stand-in immune ASD ZXC, but yeah, essentially right now they're just going to be trying to go with something that they can do very simply. They can go for the push with the Lycan. It's not a gentleman's agreement where they just don't pick it for the first few phases. If you let it slip through, they're going to snap that right up. But Team Tinker, they know the risks. They go in with a Death Prophet and a Faceless Void as a result, and that's kind of a throwaway ban on a Mirana, or at least some people might look at it that way, but a lot of the CIS teams have been using Mirana very effectively for those long-range arrows, those game-breaking ones, in fact, and it is actually a pretty astute ban here. But yeah, like I said, they know what they're up against. They want to deal with it, and I think they can. With the Yule into Silence or the Chronosphere, they can pin down this Lycan, and they have some real potential to make it very difficult for him.
Yeah, I really like this. You mentioned the Mirana ban. For me, it's really about the Skywrath ban. We saw it first pick last game by Compass. It's something that Na'Vi first pick a lot. Empire has done it on occasion, though it's not so much of an Empire hero, but Virtus Pro, another team that loves to run both of those two. M5, same for them. PGG's Mirana was fantastic. For VP, it was Jotams. So Mirana, Skywrath, to me, like, these are the two CIS supports of the hour, of the day, whatever you want to call it. They've been not only picked regularly, but oftentimes winning games by themselves, just with early pressure from Skywrath, even the later on arrows from Mirana, and well, they'll pick up a Vengeful Spirit, so all about the Roshan here for Tinker. Minus armor, physical damage from the Death Prophet. This also synergizes quite nicely with the Void and his really strong base damage, his high attack speed once he picks up a Mask of Madness. And Hellraisers, they show they've got the Lycan, and they have good team fight here from the Doom, but the question is going to be, can they stop Tinker from sneaking a Roche? Because you know at some point this game, Tinker is just going to smoke, run into the pit, and Roche will die in like 20 seconds if you don't find them and immediately pick them off.
Yeah, the banding phase was really interesting, taking out the Ancient Apparition and Jakiro, two heroes that are very frequently paired with the Void, but in this case, they knew that they were going to snap it up. They wanted the Venge, and like you said, they're great for invading the Roche pit. The Ice Blast for scouting it, the Macropire for making it very difficult to fight in that general region, and of course, Jakiro does have the merits of synergizing well with the Lycan push. The Wolves can tank up that many more tower shots because there aren't many tower shots flying out, so they can take the towers down really quickly, but if they don't have the Jakiro, they'll just add more damage to the structures right here with the Shadow Shaman. A pretty awesome pickup at this stage in the game, but pretty easy to interrupt if you really think about it. All of these heroes on the side of Team Tinker have a really convenient way of breaking the shackles, and I think it's going to be very difficult for him to just kind of stand and channel that in the midst of the fight.
Yeah, obviously you don't pick Shaman for the shackles, but it's more of a nice bonus. So they get the wards, and the only concern for me is, like, will they get through this laning stage intact? Because you look at Hellraisers right now, not a particularly strong lineup early on. Doom can be decent in certain 1v1 matchups if he gets the right creep especially. Probably heads to the offlane here. I'm almost feeling like they need to run the Lycan mid, even though it's not going to have a good time against Death Prophet, just so they can have a stronger tri-lane for the bottom lane. Because you already look at Tinker with like Void, Venge, Witch Doctor. That tri-lane's going to beat a Lycan Shaman if they want to go aggressive. As weird as it sounds, or they could run someone else with the Venge Witch Doctor, and just run the Void as their side lane, safe lane farmer against Doom. So I'm feeling like Hellraisers almost have to run this Lycan in an unusual laning arrangement. If they just go for standard lanes, I think that Lycan just gets shut down very early on. Like, perfect pick for me right now for Tinker would be an Axe. Axe tri-lane, I think, would just absolutely destroy Hellraisers if they don't adjust their lanes from here.
I think the Axe is really strong against Lycan in general, so I do like that idea, but it really just depends on how active they want to be across the map. Right now, they have a great lineup that can just kind of turtle it out. They can say, okay, let's go late, let's go for the huge potential with our abilities, and when we get that Axe Scepter on the Witch Doctor, that's when we let things fly. So they really can go for a lot of push, a lot of good sustained damage as well with the like you mentioned, the Wave of Terror, but now the Voodoo Restoration. And I kind of feel like they can just take a piece by piece objectives rather than trying to go all in with a play like Axe. Think it would be awesome to see, but I
It's
don't
not
know
even
if it,
it's not really even all in though, right? Because you're running Void and Death Prophet as like two really strong late game solos. So
Mhm.
if the tri lane doesn't work, you can always roam the Venge and Witch Doctor, just sack someone bottom lane. I don't know if I would say it's all in to do something like that. Axe can even go jungle if need be. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, I mean, like you make a good point. Tinker goes late, but at the same time, it's like in Doom. You never want to give like in Doom free farm. Like, and to me, they're
Sure.
always a duo you want to try and contest early on. If you can, if you can. But let's see what they go for with this last pick. Wind Ranger now snapped up by HR. It could be a core Wind Ranger in theory. It's still open as to whether this will be a support or not.
Mhm. I definitely prefer the Wind Ranger in like a solo mid type role. We've seen some of the better players that play Wind Ranger, like Miracle in the SCA, for example, is really good at getting the Maelstrom up early. I think Moon Meander from Complexity uses that build too. So, yeah, I mean, building it up and going for some early hard right click oriented stuff, and then later on getting mobility items like Blink and Force is generally going to get you the maximum potential from this hero. But obviously, as a support, she brings some nice utility. I just don't think it's enough to warrant the pick over a lot of the other supports, like maybe a Wraith King.
Last pick's about to come out as soon as these bans are made, and Tinker. Looking at this HR lineup, I'm thinking they're going to ban us. Actually, they ban a Sven, which I like a lot, actually. It's
Hmm.
something that we saw out of EG constantly at WEC. And EG basically treated it as like the Death Prophet counter. You run Minus Armor with Death Prophet, you run a lot of physical damage with her, and Warcry with plus 16 armor to the entire team at level 4 just completely negates that, and then some. So, Centaur removed by HR. So they were expecting some sort of, if not laning aggression, then definitely mid-game ganking prowess. And
Sure.
kind of fills a similar niche to the axe. Can be used in an aggressive tri-lane. Also needs a blink dagger to really make his initiations work later on, and
Yeah.
a little bit of a
Uh,
safer pick in some ways, just because he has a lot more burst and a reliable stun.
I'd like the Tidehunter here. I think that the synergy pretty well works with a team where they can go for okay.
Fada? Or, sorry, not Fada. Thinking of
Y-
Cloud9.
The second you see Troll Warlord, that's what you think of because nobody else runs this hero. But
Is it...
you know,
Who's going to be run... Is it... I know Tinker have been swapping around their roles a bit. What is it right now? It's a... I actually don't
EGM
even
went
know.
back to support. He started off as like a core player a little bit,
Yeah,
but
he
I
was
think it's
playing
Pycat
off lane
offlane
for a
now.
while, right? Okay, now
Yeah.
Pycat's back to off lane. So that's Bulba and EGM support. Sing Sing is the safe lane farmer, and Quakefa's going mid, and Pycat is off lane. Is that right?
I don't know. I remember seeing Pycat on the offlane, and I think Sing Sing was supporting a little bit, but now he's here on the Death Prophet. Bulba and EGM are back on the supports. That's right. So, yeah, I think this is going to be an off. Well, I wouldn't prefer an off-lane troll though. That's so weird. I didn't even screenshot the draft there. This is really interesting. Um, I'm trying to figure it out, but I can't see anything other than an off-lane void and like a safe lane pushing lineup from the troll warlord.
Oh, it
But
looks like Death Prophet mid. Sing Sing's picked up the Null Talisman, and well, Void and Troll in theory both can use the safe lane farm well, but the Troll isn't as strong of an offlaner, so. If they want to run the troll offlane, it's probably going to be an aggressive tri-lane, which, again, is where Lycan generally struggles a bit, is those first few levels. So let's see if that's what Tinker have planned. They're already moving into the Radiant Jungle, looking to drop down some wards, maybe find a potential First Blood. And on that note, we'll introduce our teams. Tinker sitting pretty at 7-1 in Starladder so far. HR 2-3. If they want to go to Kiev, they got a lot of work to do. Pycat on the Troll. Bulba, your support Witch Doctor. EGM will be playing the Venge. Koikfa on the Void. And that means Sing Sing on the Death Prophet. Curious to see how they lane this. They are diving art style a bit, but they can't get in range to actually kill it off on the Lycan. This will force the supports back, though. You've got Immune standing in on the Wind Ranger for now. It looks to be a support Wind Ranger. Dubas will be playing the Shadow Shaman. And towards the mid lane goes Yoki on the Brew, leaving Dread as the off-lane Doom. So it is going to be aggressive tri-lane, but it's a troll aggressive tri-lane. This hero really known just for being a solo mid when he first came out. Then the nerf to Whirling Axes came, so it wasn't as effective for just spamming as a nuke in lane. And still, when we saw him picked, it was normally, more than anything, just Fada going mid and rushing a mech for his old team Mouse Sports. I've occasionally seen Troll as a safe lane farmer, but very unusual to see him in an aggressive tri lane. If they've run it, I was not watching those games, so...
No, but just looking at the potential of the hero, I think he is really suited for try versus try play. He has a lot of potential damage output. Whirling Axe is great utility for the team in general, and if somebody oversteps, they're going to get punished very heavily. And on top of that, he can CS under pressure by switching to back to his ranged form. So I think the versatility, the strengths of the hero will outweigh the weaknesses of not getting the solo experience. And of course, you get a pretty decent lane 1v1 with Voikva going the Faceless Void against the Doom.
Yeah, generally a lane where Void is a great time, but with Dread getting Howl damage and finding a toughness art, he can trade blows fairly effectively with this Void, especially when Howl's online. Our mid lane, we'll quickly look at that. It's a Death Prophet versus Brew. A lane that can go either way, but generally we see Death Prophet if she positions herself right, having the edge here, especially at those early levels. But I like this a lot from Tinker. You see a Lycan, you don't want to give him free farm, and they're trying to run him safe lane, which means he's much more vulnerable to harassment. Even if they don't get kills, they're slowing the Lycan's farm down.
Yeah, there's no way for him to rotate in the jungle and get some independent experience here. And as the action from the polling hasn't really been taking effect yet, he's going to be getting just split 3 ways experience, and the Wolves won't have as much of an impact. Now we see the slow after the stun, but the Wind Ranger will be able to get her one active ability off here. The Wind Run will keep her up, but they're still at bay. Like, they can't actually take anything positive out of this. They can only just stay alive.
Meanwhile, Dread is getting real aggressive top lane. His creeps are pushing in with the toughness R, and he'll start skipping the wave, in fact, as Koikfa, fighting under his tower with the poor man shield, is running a bit low on regen. May have to ferry something soon. And they're pushing in this bottom lane now. EGM, early point in the stun. Curious to see if he just... I imagine we're just going to see the Wave of Terror, but you never know. They've got some decent right-click potential either way with these three ranged heroes in the tri lane. And Dread will now eat a heal creep. So he's going to use his mana for that. A little bit of sustain in the lane.
Pretty nice.
Cask.
And
this is a nice cask, but a little bit too close to the tower to follow that one up.
yeah, they don't want to focus the Wind Ranger either, because he can always Wind Run right when the magic missile's about to hit, and there's absolutely nothing they can do as far as like raw damage output. So they want to try to focus the Shadow Shaman most likely, and Art Style's a nice secondary target. But at least the fact that they forced Wind Ranger to skill up her namesake ability, the Wind Run, I think that's kind of important, because then they can't go for the big shackles and really experience the utility of this hero. Stand-in obviously has probably recommended it, because I can't imagine they just draft this for the stand-in.
Saint's going for first blood. Oh, no. Thought he might. He had the Crypt Swarm, but bottle charges from Yoki make that a risky proposition.
Yep, still controlling the lane pretty well, though, and that's nice to say against a Brewmaster. Like you said, the Haze build isn't an option here, because the Crypt Swarm is most of where Sing Sing's creep clear ability comes from, and he's going to be able to push up the lane to constantly control runes.
By the way, does the Sentry block the camp? Because I don't think Tinker came to manually block it every time.
Yeah, I would have spawned by now, so this Sentry is just a little bit too close. It's actually really, it's like on the line. It literally is. If it was just
like right
a little bit
normally?
south. Yeah, that's generally where you see it, is a little bit south, maybe right above that tree. So yeah, it's tiny differences like that can make it impossible for HR to kind of control where the lane goes. And now that it's pushing out with the siege creep, they're losing control. They are being forced away from their tower to attempt any CS, and that's where...
I don't know if Immune realizes that he's blocked his own camp here. At least I'm pretty sure he has, because he dropped another sentry.
We'll see in 4 minutes, or at the 4-minute mark.
Yeah. That's... Not only does he block his own camp, it looks like, but he also drops another sentry, thinking that it's just still ward blocked. But it's actually not. It's just a lane ward. This is pretty costly, and, well, 4 minutes in. Yeah, it's still blocked.
Brutal. But it does happen. I mean, the spawn boxes are a little difficult to perceive.
That one camp in particular is just ridiculous. So Sing Sing pursues out Yoki mid lane, bringing him down to about 30 HP. The Tango region saves him. But they're also rotating an EGM towards this. Sing Sing not going to allow him to get back in the lane easily. And, yeah, as mentioned, generally a lane the Death Prophet has a good time in. The only way this doesn't go her way is if a lucky rune spawns for the Brew, or if supports rotate. But they're stuck they're stuck in this bottom lane, just protecting the Lycan early on.
Yeah, they have full control of the game right now, and in terms of getting the 1v1 matchup they wanted for Sing Sing, and getting at least a decent of a very manageable matchup for the Faceless Void. Workable going to have a good time up there, and down bottom is where they're really starting to just put this pain on. I mean, Lycan is going for a 1-1-1 build. He's only level 3. He knows if he gets hit by the magic missile, he's essentially dead. So he has to be very careful, but at least for now, they have decided to try to make something happen elsewhere. But without the Shackle Shot, they have to get the Shackles, and that's very difficult to do without the boots on Shadow Shaman.
The other area where I have my eyes on right now is top lane. Dread has hit level 6. Koikfo is a bit low on HP, and they'll bring EGM in here, but the supports are making that journey all the way up top. The smoke is about to wear off. I don't think EGM's going to spot them out, though. He's moved a bit too far to the left, towards the western point of the jungle, and might get caught out now. Lurks in the trees. Dread with Doom ready, and EGM's completely trapped in. Immune walks right by, and then the Doom goes out in the void, but this is going to prevent the focus on EGM. I think they might get the kill anyway. The power shot, the nuke as well from the Shaman. First blood will go the way of HR. The neutrals made a long journey to try and steal that one and deny it, but weren't successful in the end.
Can't imagine if those baby wildlings took it, I would just freak out. But yeah, it was kind of distorted because obviously you don't want to doom one target and focus the other. But Venge is squishy at this time, so technically the doom just acted as a prevention maneuver where Koikova couldn't turn things around with a Chronosphere and get some retaliatory TPs. So it works out well enough, a doom for a kill, but it is a long way from home for the supports. The Lycanthrope now having to go into his jungle and just farm up this medium camp here, and Bulba might spot him out. The Wolf, the cast bounce would be huge, and he's going to go right on him.
Yeah, no follow-up, though, so Artstyle will make his way out. Meanwhile, mid lane, the rotation comes in from Immune and Dubas. They hold him in position with Shackle. Again. They could follow this up with a power shot. It's level 2, Clap missed, but it won't matter. One auto attack brings him down anyway. Couldn't make his way out in time, and this leaves the Lycan a little bit on an island here as the rotations are going mid. They'll hex up Sing Sing. Can they follow this up with anything? No Mon on the Shaman. Now Bulba joins this. Oh, this is going to be ugly. Quickfoot arrives. Chrono on 3. Instantly they lose 2. Yoki has split available. Clap. Now split. And jumping onto Quickfoot. But the Shaman heal is going to make this a difficult kill. Focusing on Bulba instead. The Boulder Toss will come out. And Bulba will be right-click down. Can they finish him off in time? One more auto attack. He salves. He's going to live. And now they might even kill off the Brew after this. If they get a lucky bash... Oh, evasion? Not enough. The bash is there, and the kill will come out.
Wow, RNGG, Koikova really just getting so much out of that. I mean, the cask was perfect in the first place, but they didn't even hit it because they got the 3-man chrono with everybody outside. They just got so much damage there, and man, that was the perfect time for rotation. You get one ulti for one kill from Dread, but when Koikova rotates, he makes sure it's a big deal. So he's going to build up his treads very early on with this and be able to just TP out to the lane. He won't have chrono for some time, but if you look at his build, it's actually pretty interesting. Like, he doesn't have a lot of maneuverability with only 1 point in time walk, but he's able to trade hits against the Doom a lot more with the 4 points in bash, and obviously great in the chrono.
Now they find EGM bottom lane. Artstyle walks in. It's one right click from Yoki with the Howl damage crit. Just annihilates him. And Dread is Doom.
Right
Insta Doom. Quakefoot's being dove pretty aggressively. Dread doesn't have any extra damage from the creep. This is a very big commitment from him. And there's no TP. There's nobody coming to help out Quakefa. Unbelievable. He's still being chased down, but the Doom not quite enough. He'll stick up. Time walk away. Surviving on like 30 HP before the stick charges. And makes his way out of that one. If he had like any kind of damage, some attack speed from a Centaur, would have been an easy kill. Dread will still get the tower and the mech delivered. And even though that doesn't get a kill, this is a fat freaking Doom, man. Already an 8-minute mech and phase boots. Like, the amount that Dread's going to offer his team in the next engagement really can't be overstated.
Yeah, and they're going to have, of course, the split up around the next time, too. It's not probably going to be a blink split just yet, but either way, if they can get in position for it, they should be in a really good state of affairs, just timing those two ultis together. The problem is, the big issue for right now is positioning. The only range disable they really have is the Shackle shot, and that has to be very precisely shot to actually make an impact. Of course, the Shackles are there, the Hex soon, but it's just he's walking around at 335 movement speed and doesn't really... He's only level 3, so they're going to go down bottom. Chronosphere right on Artstyle, and he's down.
And Pycat using his range form to throw a few auto attacks into the Chrono. We'll get the kill. Another death for the safe lane Lycan. This is how you shut down the Lycan, though, man. You just got to keep the pressure on in the laning stage. Don't let him get any early farm, and he's sitting on 23 CS. Still offers something to his team from Hal and the Wolves, obviously, but yeah, there's not going to be a fast Vlads, let alone anything like a Necro Book or even a Medallion. The Sing Sing keeps on pushing in the mid lane. He's got a haste turn up. He'll keep this tower just short of deny range, but do as much damage as possible. Radiant Glyph is ready. With Dread pushing in bottom with the mech. Tinker probably got to rotate if they want to defend. There's no Chrono available. This will be a tough defense for them, so maybe they just go for a trade during this time. It's a slow and steady push, but they're chipping away at the tower here. No wards yet, though, so can't really kill it off
Yeah,
quickly.
they don't have anything to push with, really. The Lycan Wolves are finally coming through here. They are level 3. Basilisar is the only real thing behind it, though. So, yeah, they need to just kind of delay this as much as possible so that Sing Sing can do his thing on mid. But even with the haste turn, he's not able to secure the tower last hit. Deny coming in from Yoki, and they're going to rotate back down bottom. Since he's TP'd, this is leaving the remainder of Hellraisers kind of stranded out, and could be enough for Sing Sing to engage.
It's just so hard to fight into a Doom with a mech this early on. Like, you cannot burst him in Chrono unless you catch him in a good position with a Magic Missile and the Death Prophet ult. And even then, that's still going to be tough. So I think wisely, Tinker are just waiting for easier engagements. Like, why try to force a fight on the Doom when you can just split push mid, split push top, punish anyone who rotates, and let Chrono cool down in the meantime.
Now, it does look bad for the Lycan here, but I have seen a lot of Lycanthropes that have a really terrible start and then just bounce back insane. Like, could have 25 CS now, and 10 minutes from now be up to 100. KOXY has actually, like, done it consistently, where he just actually starts offlane sometimes and rebounds. But nice attempt for the deny from Pycat. Not going to happen here, but still a tower for a tower.
Tower for a tower, but Tinker are looking for a second one. The question is if HR are going to allow this. Sing Sing getting dangerously close to a Yule Scepter, at which point it gets real hard to finish someone off when they're doomed. You've got the defensive swap from Venge soon online, the Witch Doctor heal, defensive Chrono if need be, and as well as the Yule Scepter to prevent the Doom from chasing in and potentially turn these fights. So I'm still thinking Tinker in a good position, and it's at this point to me really looking like the Dire Van just going to play a big factor. Yeah. Radiant Lycan not taking too many early towers. The tier 1 top did go down, the tier 1 bottom, but he's hardly snowballing, only as a Vlad's, and will be a while before you can truly engage. But top lane, quick leaps in. Onto 2 boss. Oh, the first hit bash. Not that he really needed too many bashes there with the follow-up that came from EGM, but it just makes it an easier kill.
Yeah, I mean, just absolutely clobbering him with only having 2 armor, a lot of right-click damage, and of course the magic on top of that with the max time lock. Yoki is going to be able to find a regen rune with his Blink Dagger, so this next primal split should be pretty big, and afterwards he can disengage and heal up to full. But it's interesting because Team Tinker are okay with just playing passively, at least for the moment. We see that there is going to be a Midas pick on the Pycat, who right now is kind of dueling it out with art style. You just don't 1v1 this guy, and if you got an extra bash, there might have been potential for a kill even through Shapeshift.
Is he really going back in? One bash and he's dead.
No, at least he's max, but I don't know.
If he got bashed, dude, that was just a feed. Like, he's just rolling the dice at that point, just praying that there's no bash.
Well, you can only bash in the melee form, so I mean.
Well, he ran right next to him, and
yeah,
right to you could just toggle the. You could
Part
just toggle.
Swap, yeah.
I don't know, man. That's I'm questioning that move from art style. But I like this from Tinker overall. Like, they go for the Midas, and pressure is. Oh wait, no, he sold his Midas. Okay, he went back for a mech.
Oh, I actually really love that.
Complete 180. Okay, well, they're like, alright, HR, you want to keep on pushing? Alright, instead of a Midas, we're getting a mech. And now we're going to be able to team fight. This means that if you don't Doom the Troll, he can really turn these fights for his team. Dread caught out by a casket. It'll bounce once to Yoki. Not bouncing back again, though. It'll end the push for now, and this creates a little room for EGM to split push the top lane. He's actually not leveling up Magic Missile. This is kind of your old-school Venge build. It used to be that Magic Missile had the same stun duration at all levels. The only thing that changed was the damage. Some players, this was like way back in 2010 Dota, would just level up Wave of Terror and Vengeance Aura. But nowadays, with the stun scaling a little bit differently, we normally don't see this build too much. But it's making a comeback.
Yeah, and there's a couple different ways to do it. The Wave of Terror max is one way where you actually just get, if you have a lot of physical damage coming out, which they do actually have the Death Ward, the Exorcism, so on, then the Wave of Terror might be preferable. But since the buff to the Vengeance Aura, where if she dies, they take the negative aura, I think that's pretty huge. Because especially if Brewmaster kills her, all those pandas aren't doing the damage they need to. Pycat, down bottom, has that mechanism. It might be enough to save his life, but he's so far away from a tower. We'll go for the run, the swap away, and he actually will get out.
At that point, it's a brew split for a support Venge. While meanwhile, over in the middle lane, Dread finishes off the tower with the help of the Shadow Shaman, but Death Ward is being channeled to the right of this fight. That's going to annihilate one. Koikfa's the trade. They'll lose their Void for this. Chronosphere was already used at the start of that and couldn't finish it. Now back to bottom. They're still chasing Pycat out. They already killed off the Venge. Shackle Shot comes through, but he's just too goddamn tanky. He's got 19 armor with the Mech Aquila. They can't finish him. And now Bulba rotates in, but with no Death Ward, not really sure what he offers here. Just a cask if he can find the mana for it. Doesn't have it yet. And basically everybody needs to refuel and restock here. Nobody has anything. No Primal Split, no Lycan ult, no Doom, no Mech. Like, they're all coming up. They're all
And with
coming
that, I
up
think this is
empty.
a Roche opening, clean and clear. I mean, they got the Wave of Terror, they got the Medallion. The Roche is going to be so quick, and they're actually TPing to clear out the wave, and they want to make their way there, I believe, because this is going to be taking, essentially, like we talk a lot about, if there's an ancient camp that's stacked up for a particular hero and then it gets stolen by the other team, that's a huge win because it's positive for them and negative for the enemy. I almost look at that Roshan the same way for Lycan. Lycan needs this Roshan to help his economy, to allow him to really be active in his split pushing with the Aegis, and we're going to see it perhaps taken right before them. So we'll see how this pans out, but if they get this, this is huge.
Tough to fight into this, and I mean, I said like 20 seconds, but with the Medallion and the Vengeance minus the minus armor from the Venge, it's not even. It's like 10 seconds at most. Easy Aegis.
Yeah.
And a great Aegis is obviously always nice, but when you're against Doom, like and as well as these other long cooldown ults such as Split, it's just exceptionally valuable.
Yeah, I'm curious actually who's going to build the Assault Chronos on Team Tinker. We've seen actually TC go for a build where he picks it up pretty much at this stage in item progression on the Death Prophet. That obviously helps the Exorcism quite a bit, but it's also a great item on the Troll Warlord after it picks up some lifesteal. So I'm curious who's going to pick it up, but I really think somebody should, because with that Battle Trance, they have so much potential physical damage, and if you look at Team Tinker in general, that's going to be huge for them.
Saint now scooping up a double damage rune and rotating towards top lane. He'll push that one out and continues to farm. He's keeping up nicely with the Doom, and this does go back to Dread's early mech. It's been very valuable to the team, though I wouldn't say they've taken enough objectives to feel like they fully capitalized on it, and now it's to the point where Tinker can look to outfarm them a bit. Even without the Midas on the Troll, just having an Aegis, they can play more aggressively, push out the lanes, and potentially look to take some fight soon on the back of Chronosphere, which has cooldown. All the big ults are online. But Artstyle is starting to farm now. He's opting to skip the Medallion, and I think on Radiant side this is, as well as it just being a very late Medallion, it's a nice choice. Just go straight into Necrobook, get more of a mid to late game oriented item out, and look for a fight. It's only Necro 1 though. I still find it weird how Necrobook scales. Like, Necro 1 is just so ass, and the Necro 3 is just ridiculous.
Yeah, pretty much. You start it, you got to finish it, that's for sure. But that means that he's going to be sitting on brown boots for a very long time, and although I mean, that's not that big of a deal. When you consider what the attack speed gives to a hero with 1.5 base attack time during Shapeshift, I actually almost think it's too core to skip. But he's just going to go for the Necro. That will help against the incidental damage if they kill off a Necro Warrior. And of course, like you said, Necro 3 is absolutely immense. So we'll see if he can get there.
Smoke in from Team Tinker. They're about to find Dread. This would be the ideal hero to kill first, but he's got Shiva's End Mech. This will have to be perfect. Leaping in his Koikva. The Chrono will catch him just on the edge. Then the Death Ward follows up. So much for being tanky. He's got 22 armor, but with the Medallion, the minus armor from the Wave of Terror, and all that physical damage, he still just drops in a second.
Yeah.
That was like 2 seconds.
Yeah, without the mech active, you don't get the +2 armor, and then obviously not near the Lycan, he doesn't get the +5, so there's a lot of potential armor, but him just being caught by himself like that, it's still not enough. He just gets absolutely shredded, and they're going to try to go for kind of a base race against a team that has Battle Trance. Obviously not, it's the outer towers, not the inner, but this is something that you generally don't want to do because, yeah, you're going to drop the wards, and that's gone, but they can keep doing whatever they want. They can go for the next tower if they want to, because Battle Trance is such a short cooldown.
Well, they will rotate back, so it's a tier 2 for tier 2. They also get the tier 2 mid, which is generally the more important tower. That being said, this Radiant tier 2 is in the safe lane, so it controls their jungle a lot, and it's on the back of that push, Tinker. Drop down some nice aggressive wards.
Those wards are insanely good.
Yeah, looking at HR, they won't have the Necro 3 for a little while yet. Still has to get the third recipe, still has to deliver it, and then you have to just happen to use it at the right time. Generally, you want to save it for pushing or fights, so it sounds like it could be a way to deward them, but in practice, not sure it will be. Really liking the vision from Tinker right now. They have way more knowledge about what's going on the map than HR do. You look at HR, they're comparatively in the dark. Just one decent ward in their own woods.
I'm actually really surprised how many wards Team Tinker has up right now in general. Like, they had 4 all at once, and they have some restocking relatively soon, like within the next 3 minutes. So they were banking for a little bit here, and I guess that meant that they were temporarily blind, but now they make up for it with this huge resurgence. And Dubas, he needs to get some on the field. They get one good sentry out to take out the one most recently placed, but I don't know. They still need to get some vision of their own.
And Sing Sing begins to push in the top lane. Aegis still online here for Team Tinker. They'll have it for about 2 minutes. And I imagine we'll see one more fight for them with this Aegis. Try to take advantage of the Chronosphere cooldown. It's ready now for Koikva. And if they can just jump the Doom or the Brew, kill them before they get off their ults, it becomes a much more difficult fight for HR. Let's see if they find that opening. Sing Sing, popping an Illusion Rune. Well, hide in the trees for the time being with... Well, his team makes the push towards mid. Dubas blinking out quickly. He's terrified as HR group up. But it's tough for the Slykin to get active in a team fight. When you're fighting your way into Death Ward, into the blind of the Troll. Like, this is where Lycan doesn't offer you too much to team fight. Shackle and Pycat, but he's the Aegis carrier. They don't want to overcommit just to kill off the Troll. They'll want to reserve Doom for someone else who's actually going to be out of the fight. Ideally, Koikva. Problem is, Koikva's sitting back. And Hellraisers, they'll just defend for now. But Sing Sing can go in with the Yules if he wants to. Dread's really got to be careful. He's up a bit far for my tastes. They won't jump him, though. Don't want to force this too much. Just gradual, patient chip damage. And Koikva's ready. He's going to leap in momentarily. No. They see him. They pin him out, but he zones them back, and they'll take the tier 2 top. So, nicely done by Tinker, not being forced to commit any ults, and that'll be the Aegis cooldown. So, well, it'll be reclaimed in 30 seconds, but they took a nice couple of engagements and a tier 2 off the top of the... Off the back of that, I should say, as well.
Yeah, and then generally speaking, as far as lineups go, I think that gold on Team Tinker is more valuable than gold on Hellraisers. I mean, obviously, Lycan needs everything he can get to bounce back and move in towards those Necros, but actually he does get both recipes on the courier, so he is going straight from 1 to 3. But yeah, I still think that, like, right now, Hellraisers, they can't be happy with even exchanges. The tier 2s, and now losing out just hard on that tier 2 up top with... We just see Koikva just farming down bottom. He's going to have Acceptor for the next fight, maybe.
Yeah, to me, this game is really on the Doom at this point. But the issue is Dread only has 1 Doom. And they honestly, I feel like they're going to need a refresher. And it feels like HR are feeling the heat as well. They'll drop the wards. Blinking in was the Shaman, and now they'll just go straight on the tower. Artstyle popping his ultimate just for that lower base attack time to move a bit quicker on this one. And now Doom will leap in, trying to zone them off with the Brew split following this up. The Shivas will keep Tinker out of the engagement. They're now going straight for the Rex. Tinker seemed caught off guard by this level of aggression. Koikva will leap in now, but he gets doomed after chronoing. Not really the best time to doom, but hey, it helps keep Artstyle alive. Bulba channeling his ult, but it won't last for long. Immune walked in. They take the Rex. The Shackle Shot canceling the Death Ward. That's a big chunk of Tinker's damage. Now Pycat on the chase. He's BKB'd. He's right-clicking from range for him, but Windranger's just going to Windrunner way out of this one. And it looks like everybody might end up escaping. The range slow that Pycat can throw still cooling down. Shackle Shot will be there, and in the end, HR take a freebie of a Rex and get out completely scot-free. What a great jump from them.
Yeah, great opportunity. They didn't actually get like too many kills out of it, but the structural damage is there. That's what they needed. EGM is not yet level 11, so he doesn't have the range he needs on the swap to force them to stick with it further. And actually, the Aghanim Scepter was not picked up yet on the Void, so Koikva didn't have that shorter CD. All of it was just not a fair exchange. It was very imbalanced, but we do see now they're trying to take advantage of the time interval between the ultimates. The Doom is up in 40 seconds, Panda Split about the same, but he has the Ags for the next one. They got a lot of gold off of that last push. They got a lot of general control over the map, and Team Tinker wants to take something back.
Yeah, Tinker keep the push going as Immune tries to hold the line here. EGM will scout him out with a Wave of Terror, and knowing that the ults are down, this is their time to force a fight. Shackle connects on EGM, Power Shot follows it up, and they will take a tier 2, but at this point, it's a tier 2 for Rex. Not a great trade. So they push in all the way. That's going to be the big question.
I don't think they should. It's really difficult. They have to have like the best Chronosphere and kill off the Brew before he gets the split. Now they'll just back off.
They're also getting around that time where Roche could respawn, so if they force this one right now, then at the very least HR are going to push out all the lanes if they win a fight and be in much better position to contest.
Yeah.
So they'll play it safe and back off.
So we're seeing some unique progression from the supports of Hellraisers. It's going to be Dubas to go straight for an Aghanim Scepter after his Blink Dagger, and it's going to be Windranger to kind of play that number 5 position. He kind of filled up all his inventory slots, so he might be buying the wards, but he certainly isn't placing them. Maybe the Shadow Shaman has at least that duty. But yeah, Windranger right now, not looking too hot in terms of items, but I like what he's done as far as just economic efficiency with what little he has. Having the double bracer, very effective HP. Instead of getting clobbered by just a couple of nukes, he's actually going to be able to survive long enough through the fights to get a couple of those shackle shots off.
Yeah, his shackle shots have been pretty big. Even just that one earlier that canceled the death ward, that's what saved them from a potential turn by Tinker. Tinker want to fight outside the base, though. They smoke up, they look for the jump in immediately, but they quickly blink out on Dread. Koikfa can't find a good Chronosphere. He gets doomed, but he might have been doomed at the wrong time, as they can't really follow this one up too effectively. Yoki will jump in. He tries to force the issue, knowing that they have to make something happen while the Doom is up on the Void, and Koikfa's forced back. Now Yulzing herself up in the air. The Death Prophet is surrounded by literally everyone. Well, now thrown up again, but drop back down. Sing Sing on the periphery of the Chrono, still alive. He actually dies to the immolation damage of the Bruce Split. They'll kill him off. Now they want Pycat as well. Shackled, isolated in position, and ends up being picked off a 3-for-2 exchange with the Shaman living at 20 HP. And now they look for Koikfa, but don't see Immune getting rate. Oh, maybe for a power shot. EGM, he jukes it, but he also runs back towards Immune. Getting close to that position where... Oh! Ends up killing the Necrobook!
Are you serious?
They wave of turn the Necrobook!
How does that happen?
Oh. Well, game was hard now, boys. Jumping onto Koikfa. They'll shackle him. They'll hold him in place. I don't know if they can kill him off. He might get a free kill here. Yeah, Shaman's just going to throw away his life at that point. They couldn't deal with the Void. Series of very confusing plays for both teams.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, the Master Boards don't take down this tier 2 tower. They get the turret around there. I don't know, Necro Gun, Tactical, I don't know. That was, mind-blowing. But, yeah, the Chronosphere was obviously delayed very substantially because of the Doom targeting onto Koikova in particular. They saw them coming actually from a Wolf scouting, so it wasn't even just quick reactions, it was just smart movement from them, and they took advantage of that Aghanim's timing where Yoki could really do a lot of work. But even still, Team Tinker, they took some heavy losses, losing the racks and only having 2 outer tier towers, but with this Roche, they could be right back in it. It's going to be requiring more great usage of ultimates and more Imba shackle shots in order to control this next fight, because that Aegis is coming back out, and we'll see who they put it on. It's going to be actually on to Pycat. So this is pretty interesting because obviously he could get a second Battle Trance off in the fight, and he does now have the BKB. So although he's used it a couple times, maybe not the most effective until now when he can actually use it on his respawn and on his second life.
We'll have a quick pause from Tinker after they finish the Roche to ensure that
look at the death animation of Roshan right now. You can like showcase view that. It's awesome. Do you see that? Or?
Yeah, he's like roaring in agony as he is about to be sucked into the earth. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Although the floating numbers are kind of bugging me out a little bit, I gotta say.
Roshan gets attacked by math. It's a nightmare.
This is an absolute nightmare for Roshan. He's being turned into gold by a faceless villain. This is pretty trippy, actually, man. Let me take you on a journey through numbers and time. Well, yeah, we'll check our graphs now, guys. So if you're joining us, of course, this is Game 3 of 5 on the day for Starladder Europe. It concludes a marathon of Southeast Asia and Chinese Dota that came before it. We're getting into the meat of the Starladder schedule. Over the next 2 weeks or so, we'll wrap up our other divisions outside of Europe, and we'll head towards the home stretch for the 30-day group stage for Starladder. But yeah, this is a back-and-forth game, even in terms of net worth right now. But it's a lane of Rax advantage for HR. Tinker, I think pretty generally we'd say they have the late game advantage unless Doom gets a refresher, and I don't think he's anywhere near one for now. So pressure is still on HR. If they take that second lane of Rax cleanly, then I'd say it's their game. But for now, I'd say it's only a slight edge having that one Rax. The other thing, Blaze, is the tier 2s are still up. So even if they win a fight, it's not necessarily clear that HR can just take another lane of Rax on the back of that.
Like, the Shadow Shaman would just love to go for a rat play once he, assuming he does finish his Aghanim Scepter, just drop down the Mass Serpent wards onto the enemy tier 3, the enemy racks, and force the enemy back at the very least, if not do some real damage. But right now they got the tier 2s up, and actually Dubas is only level 9, so only getting the first piece of that puzzle there, and yeah, still a very long way off from being actually a real threat when it comes to the wards themselves. We do see the smoke kind of falling apart here as they do break it to clear out these camps, and Pycat happy to just take the easy kill on the Necronomicon. But one thing I do want to note is that Troll Warlord does have to be careful about mana burn. It seems like a small thing because he does have the BKB, but Troll Warlord has the lowest base intelligence and int growth of any hero in the game, alongside Phantom Assassin. So with that, if he does not get his mech off before they gets his mana burned or his BKB off before the Necros start wailing on him, he actually might run out before he actually gets a chance. Only 429 right now in his pool.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if Tinker are going to get aggressive. Like right now they're sitting on a pretty decent cushion, I would say, with the Aegis up, and they're starting to get to that point where their Death Ball can be overwhelming. If they get a good Chrono Witch Doctor ult, like that's going to be the fight. HR are not going to win at that point, and they're looking for some kills bottom lane. Pycat running around with an Invis Rune might crash into Art Style here. Not the easiest solo kill, but with any sort of backup, he'll go down, and Koikfa now joins the fray. Trying to TP out. Chrono will be in time. Yep, just caught him. But there's backup coming. Immune gets the shackle off Koikfa.
Oh,
no, he dodges it! He runs north with that 1,000 move speed or so, and ends up not connecting on the shackle. Surrounded by trees. It was like the one spot where there's no tree behind him.
Yeah, the shopkeeper's like, what's going on? I'm immune to shackle shot. Don't mess with me. And yeah, that was very well maneuvered. Pretty much the only spot he could have stood to actually avoid that. But that responds appropriately. They get that big kill and they halt a little bit of momentum on the side of HR. They want to fight now with all their ultis up, but they're not going to get the opportunity, and yeah, that gives more time where Troll Warlord going to be building up a Sanjin Yasha for now. Maybe could consider like a Halberd Manta type build up later, but for now it's slot efficient and gives them a crazy amount of movement speed.
And Tinker are just kind of building those items that get them through this stage of the game. Like, we're not seeing too many ultra late game oriented items, although, right as I say that, Koikfa might be building his Refresher Orb.
Oh, yeah, that is awesome.
Could be a Battle Fury, I suppose,
no.
But I'm thinking it's a Refresher. And
I'm right there with you, man. That looks awesome.
At that point, like, you've got teammates to do the damage, right? So if you've double Chrono, this makes it very hard to not catch their entire team. And if you catch their entire team, then Witch Doctor gets a free ultimate. And that Witch Doctor nearly has an Axe. Bulba is only 300 gold short. So yeah, I'm really feeling the Refresher for Koikfa, and he's getting close to it.
Yeah.
Hellraisers, that was a great play getting the mid-racks. As soon as this Aegis expires, they've really got to go for a second lane, because I feel like they're starting to lose their grip on this game the longer it goes on. Bottom lane, jump in on Art Style. The backup's coming, but they're too slow. And the Witch Doctor ult, look at it go. Easy kill on Art Style.
Back-to-back deaths.
That was supposed to be the makings of a potential bait. The rest of the team was coming, but they were too late to the party.
Well, they might get Bulba. He doesn't have TP. He TP'd down to the lane to get involved in this action, and it is going to cost him his life. But
well worth it. Well worth it.
I don't know. I mean, well, obviously in general it's a good trade, but he's a little sad because of course he doesn't get to finish off his Aghanim Scepter here.
That's true. Because he's maybe it's even because he's so close to eggs. That's a good point. But hey, it's still the enemy Lycan who is...
It's still another 50 free seconds to avoid the push. The tier 2 will certainly fall because it's like 400 HP, but maybe not. They're posturing.
They have Aegis on
such an aggressive position.
Hey, why not, man? He's just here to soak up damage. It's really the Death Prophet who's going to be dishing out. Gets a bash on Dread. Now BKBs, turns to fight, and Dread just gets muscled down. The minus armor, overwhelming from Team Tinker. The tower will fall to the Shaman wards, but they're quickly farmed up here, so they get a kill on the Doom of all things, and now the Chronosphere. Koikfa holding Immune in place and trying to finish him up, but Drunken Haze, not effective there. Just didn't get the mischance that they needed. Now they'll be forced to Brew Split, but this is not even necessarily a get out of jail free card. If they can chase him down during the split and finish him off, he might end up dropping. They kill off the Wind Panda, so now it's the Earth Panda that'll return to, and the Wind Panda not going to be the one that gets away while they kill off the other two. The Boulder Toss, and... well, blinks into the trees. Can he TP out in time? Venge, no Wave of Terror, but they get the vision anyway. And they'll kill him off now. Yeah, I think Yoki was hoping that they would kill the other pandas and he could win walk away and, you know, then he'd live with the win. But no, they kill the Wind Panda first and then they just chase the Earth. And at that point, there's really nothing you can do.
Absolutely nothing. That is extremely unfortunate as it's just pick off after pick off, but it's really chest out Dota from Pycat here with the PKB, Mech, and Aegis of the Immortal. He does end the fight without really much mana to spare, but he's going to just get a free regen rune out of the Aegis of the Immortal. So in this position, all they have to really worry about is their tier 4s actually getting hounded on, literally, with these wolves and with the Necronomicon.
Whenever you use only have to worry about in tier 4s of the same sets, it's like, huh? But it's kind of an only because they're not really that close to breaking them. They do some chip damage to both, but there's still plenty of TPs available, and the towers do still stand at the end of the day. So... it's getting to that point, Blaze, where I'm almost feeling like HR might have to go for a desperation, like, just try to force the throne.
Sure.
Maybe a second lane of Rax bottom, if they can ever get that lane pushed out. But for now, they'll look for Koikfa. They scout him out with the Wolves. They blocked him, and now the Blink Hex fault. They really want to reserve the Doom here if possible, but I think they just might have to blow it. Level dead. Yeah, they had to. Otherwise, he's going to Chrono and just get out of that one.
And Windranger's rolling in the dough now. Barely could afford a 4-staff before, but just got a 728 reliable gold kill. So, pretty nice pickoff for him.
Dread. Well, does he get caught out again here? He's under a dire ward. Yeah, 4-step in. Stunned to follow this one up. He Shivas and tries to retreat, but Witch Doctor ult. It's way too much damage. With all the minus armor, he goes from like 23 to 13, and they just muscle him down at that point. Too much brute force.
Yeah, I'm still going back to what I was talking about a little bit on Sing Sing's item progression. He went for the casual plate mail before picking up the BKB, but this plate mail, do you think it's going to be the Shivas or the Assault Cross?
For Pycat?
For Sing Sing.
Oh, could go either way, honestly. I think they're both equal. I don't think, like, they have, like, I don't think they're suffering for damage, honestly, so I would lean towards the Shivas. They're not in a base race scenario. And it gives them just a little more chasing power, but honestly, either one would be fine at this point. I don't view it as like a game-deciding decision.
Sure.
What do you think?
There's merits to both, but I do like the AC with what they've already got going on. Sure, they have a lot of damage potential, but there's no guarantee that the Witch Doctor will get more than 2 or 3 seconds off on the ward.
That's true. Well, let's see. For now, they're just laying into this tier 3 mid. Glyph forced out very quickly. Troll Ultimate currently cooling down for 20 seconds, but they'll get another go with the Exorcism, at least. We'll bring the tower down by about another third. Might even finish it off if they're able to commit fully into this. Saintsy with the BKB and Yules is quite confident in his positioning, but look for the Doom rotation from the north. Dread trying to find a way into this fight. Roshan to respawn in a minute. This will be a big time to win one. Dread blinking in. He'll Doom. He found the Void. He found Koikfa. Here's the perfect one. Assuming that they can stop this Death Ward. They need to stop it. Bulba gets off a 4 or 5 second duration Death Ward. Now it's canceled. And he'll get shackled, focused down while Pycat glaze into Dread with his BKB troll form. But as soon as that ends, he ends up going down. Nearly. Not quite. He loses 5 HP. Unbelievable. Finally killed off by the Brew. Still, they got a Chrono on everyone else. And it ends up being 4 heroes dead as Koikfa rejoined the fight and finished them off.
Yeah, people call it a rage buyback. I called it an I'm not even mad buyback. They just want to get into the fight, keep the momentum rolling, and try to take these racks. They are racks down. They need something big to make it happen, and they want to force the issue right here now. It's great because there is no Doom, there is no Primal Split, and with that, this team is just that much stronger. The Chronosphere is only a 30-second cooldown remaining. Drunken Haze is the only thing that's preventing them from clearing out the racks right now, and it's only a delay tactic.
Yeah, they'll push it again. No Exorcism for 30 seconds, but I think just the Troll ult's going to be enough. Yeah, this will be a lane of racks here. They're fighting even against backdoor protection, and they're still bulldozing it regardless. This is disgusting. Honestly, they're at that point where, like, they just have too much damage. They just have too much. Like, by the time you get in, like, you jump in with the Brew, and, like, you go for a clap, if they get one bash on you, you're probably just dead before you split. And that's the Brew. Like, that's not even looking at some of these other heroes who are just dead to a single stun.
Now you're saying too much damage. I have, like, this image in my head of the troll just having, like, a document for a mail order for a Divine Rapier, and he just crumples it up. A tear falls from his eye. Too much damage. But, I don't know. At this point, there is a lot of merit to it. There is a lot of damage flying out, and there's just no answer. Like, Doom's going for another plate mail. He's going for the AC. He's trying to get even more armor, because right now, 38 is not enough.
No,
I don't know.
Bulba's been scouted out here. Now the blink in from Dread. He can level Death to do a bit more damage, but they'll need some support from his team if they want to get this kill. And while they're busy chasing Bulba, the rest of Tinker swarms in and looks for their jump. EGM on the backside, just waiting for a defensive swap out while they continue to pursue the Doom. Pycat gets a single bash, but the Chrono's what they really need, and the Chrono's what they get. He got Boulder tossed inside the Chrono, though, but that's okay. He's got a second Chrono. Refresher's online. Still just slowly plinking away at Dread here. Can turn at least Doom. He'll get off the Doom on Pycat, but with the BKB up, well, he just doesn't care. He's just going to continue right-clicking, chasing out the rest of Hellraisers, and they're slowly dropping. They've lost 3. Artstyle will be next. Tager just overrunning them. Too much firepower, too much beef in the front lines. Just too difficult to bring down. They had a double Chrono. They have so many second chances. They'll lose the Brew as well. It's a wipe. And it might as well be GG, because I just don't think they have it anymore, Blaze.
They tried so damn hard. They got a really good push going in that mid lane, and they even chipped at the tier 4s, but you're right, it's kind of all in time, like just trying to go for the throne, but the Fortify is back up. They had plenty of time for that to cool down, and Yeah, now even if they went for the all-in play, that 5 seconds of immunity would make it almost impossible. They're gonna go for Roche, and with this cheese Roche, it's almost impossible for Hellraisers to come back. Obviously, there are potentials for throws. We've seen bigger ones, but even still, it would have to be Pycat not getting the Aegis, not and then just throwing his life away before he has buyback in order for them to have any shot at losing their momentum here.
Him having an Aegis is really a problem for HR because they can't kill him when he runs in any kind of a timely fashion. So then it just gives perfect setup opportunities for Koikfa. He hasn't really had to just jump in first. It's just been man mode Pycat running in as troll, and then when Koikfa sees a good opening, then he'll jump. That's really frustrating for HR. And it will be a Shivas here for Sing Sing, so they get some good AoE to follow up this Chronosphere and some more chasing potential as well. Not to mention he gets tankier against the Lycan, and now swap in onto the Lycanthrope. Art Style's caught out. No buyback. This just might be
That's the game breaker right there. Hell of a game, though.
To be fair, I don't know how much Lycan even does anymore. There's Yules on the Death Prophet, so they can kind of just kite him and deal with a lot of his damage. He still doesn't have a BKB, and they can bash him, they can swap teammates out. I don't know how much he can do, but without him, there's certainly no hope. Koikfa, Doom mid lane. Well, maybe if they get this Void kill, they can at least turn it, but Bulba's sitting on the high ground, splashing his level 3 Death Ward, and meanwhile, they push in the top lane. Yeah. Death Prophet gets a kill, and the Wind Ranger, but the real prize is this second lane of Rax, which Pycat is looking to claim. They'll buy back on the Void, and they'll look to end it now for Tinker, trying to advance to 8-1. As they focus down the second lane of Rax, they still have an Aegis, and it'll come back now, Pycat, for round number 2. He'll finish off the melee, now BKB's a retreat, and they've got a support coming in, Bulba. Just trying to chill in here, healing up his team, and do they go in again? Bruce Split about to end. Could get swapped back in, potentially.
Koiko's running. He bought back. He didn't have BOTs, but he's just been trekking it across the entire field to try to get here. He's going to be huffing and puffing when he arrives, but he will have double Chrono available for their attempt to just seal the deal here and now.
No Witch Doctor for 30, so if they want a glorious fight, maybe they wait. They do hex up Koikfa. Hey, if he dies, man, that's 2 Chronos down the drain, but, well, don't know if Dredd can get in range for that, and doesn't have a Doom anyway. Koikfa's just saying, it's okay. I'll just sit back and watch you guys win this game without me, as the Troll ultimate allows Koikfa to hit like 5 times per second, it feels. This Void is just hammerhead sharking his way to a GG. Immune, forced to have up the hill, unable to live. Yoki now caught up by Chrono. It'll be another wipe. Swapped out of the Chrono as they try to steal the kills from each other. That'll prompt the GG. HR, they gave it one last good old college try, but simply wasn't enough.
Nice game, though. Really, really interesting, very dynamic, and obviously we see some new strats here. The Faceless Void plus Troll Warlord actually has a lot to speak of as far as real potential, and I'm glad we got to see such a unique and interesting take on the current metagame. But one thing I will say is that art style on the Lycan, I don't think I've seen a game where a Lycan has lower last hits per minute than this one, and that's not really an offense to art style, that's to the merit of Team Tinker and how much pressure they put on him throughout the entire game.
Yeah, it just really goes back to the lanes for me. Like, you see the Lycan pick, you want to contest him early. I was mentioning Axe, but they went for something else that maybe synergizes even better with the Void in terms of giving him a lot of attack speed. Still pushes, helps them Roche, and can be the mech carrier for the team, which is something they needed. But yeah, just the whole idea of going aggressive against Lycan, very strong, and HR were unable to adjust their lanes to account for that. So with that, Tinker improved to 8-1 here in Starladder, and I believe they're currently topping the charts in Europe. And with that, guys, we'll take a quick break. I'm LD, he's Blaze. We will return momentarily for our 4th match of the day. That's going to be Empire versus NVMI, Godblack Squad. And then following that, the final match of the day, Tinker, also versus NVMI. Stay tuned. You're watching Beyond the Summit.